Welcome to Zoom In, Zoom Out. I'm your host, Alec MacDonald. Although Canada and Taiwan don't have official ties, both sides are looking to deepen collaboration in sectors such as semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and energy security. To discuss where those ties stand, we are joined by the head of the Canadian Trade Office in Taipei, Marie-Louise Hannan. She not only knows Taiwan at her heart as a diplomat, but as someone who has lived and worked here before putting on the official hat. Executive Director, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Alec. It's great to be here.
You lived in Taiwan before becoming an official diplomat. I want to ask, how do you see Taiwan differently between then and now? What changed for you?
Well, a lot of things changed for me because I became a little older and had a little more experience in the world, but a lot of things have changed here in Taiwan as well. I've lived in Taiwan over a few decades, actually. I first came to Taiwan as a student, and I was studying at Shida, studying Chinese, and I was living in Nangang at Zhongyuan. So I was a researcher at Zhongyuan, and at that time, it really was quite far out of the city. So I've seen some changes over the years in that the transportation links have made things a lot more convenient, both within Taipei and throughout Taiwan. When you think about the effect and the impact of the Taiwan high-speed rail to kind of leap forward and make Taiwan a much more modern, accessible, and convenient kind of place. So I've seen those changes, and being here now, I have an opportunity to engage with the government in ways that I didn't before, obviously, when I was a student.
What were your first thoughts when you first heard about this opportunity to be the head of the mission for the Canadian Trade Office in Taipei?
Well, really, frankly, I was thrilled. I had worked here before on a 4-year assignment as a trade commissioner, and I'd seen how our office operated and how excellent our locally engaged staff are, and the ways that Canada and Taiwan are highly complementary. So we've got complementary economies, we have a common sense of purpose in that we both want each other to succeed, and I knew that coming back I would have different ways and more ways to push forward with ideas, especially at this moment when Canada wants to do more with partners around the world. We want to diversify our trading partners, and the Indo-Pacific is clearly an area of focus for Canada.
Working and living here before, Taiwan also there's a lot of work here, but there's also a lot of fun. So what do you do? What do you find fun in Taiwan to decompress, relax?
There is such a variety of things to do here. The only challenge is choosing what you're going to spend your time doing. I mean, certainly my work is busy, but I do like to find a balance, and usually that has something to do with exercise, being outdoors, and there's a lot of great outdoors things to do here. I do love to travel. I love the mountains. I love biking, swimming. During the Lunar New Year holiday, I went to Taidong and discovered the Dulan Forest Recreation Area and the Dulan Beach for the first time. I thought that was really great.
So with that, the Indo-Pacific, there's a lot of uncertainty here right now. There's a lot going on in the Indo-Pacific. With that context, where would you say the status of Taiwan-Canadian relations are?
I think the degree of global uncertainty that we're facing, I mean, it's been said a lot that it's unprecedented, but truly we are facing a lot of challenges concurrently. We call it back home a polycrisis, in that we're tracking things that are beyond our control but having an impact on us in a lot of areas of the world. So Canada and Taiwan, we have relative stability in all of this that's going on. So we know what we can control and focus on, and I think we're both places that focus a lot on innovation, and we value that stability on the financial side in order to form partnerships and see what we can forge together. In particular, Canada has an Indo-Pacific strategy launched in 2022, which explicitly names Taiwan as an important partner. So we're continuing with that strategy and that program, and we're broadening the number of areas that we can collaborate with Taiwan on.
So with all that in mind, with both what's going on in Canada and Taiwan, what do you hope to achieve in your time here?
I mean, we want to keep deepening our understanding of each other's markets. already Taiwanese people, I mean, we have a lot of people-to-people relations. That's what it's based on. We estimate we have 60,000 Canadians living in Taiwan from our passport and our consular services. So we have a great potential. We've always had good people-to-people relations. From that, I would really love for Taiwanese people to know more about Canada, to think more about Canada, to think about Canada as a source for technology, for innovation, and for energy. You know, we could be thinking about each other a bit more. I'd like business leaders to think about Canada when they think about a place that is stable, predictable, and a reliable, trusted business partner. I would also like to deepen our people-to-people links in the Indigenous space. We do a lot of comparison of our Indigenous policies, and in fact next month we have a group coming for a seminar on Indigenous law to Hualien.
So Taiwan is Canada's 6th largest trading partner in the Asia-Pacific region. You mentioned quite a number of sectors there. I want to ask, what about clean energy do you think Taiwan can learn or adapt from or use the most? That is a question a lot of Taiwanese are asking about now, looking at the crisis in Iran and the impact that has had on, will Taiwan have energy security? So what is going on in that sector?
You know, I think since 2016 or so, Taiwan has been connecting internationally, including with Canada, and we've been focusing on providing technologies and ideas in clean energy. You'll see in particular in the wind energy, some of Canada's largest investments in all of Asia are here in Taiwan in the offshore wind sector. So we have leading Canadian companies, we have Canadian pension funds investing in the offshore wind sector, and we are also sharing Canadian advice and technology and experience in some new areas like geothermal. So solar, wind, geothermal, it is also a natural partner when we're looking to diversify the number of countries that we trade with. Taiwan can be looking to diversify this source of supply on conventional energy, which is where the LNG picture comes in. And in fact, we have several LNG projects that are coming online in the next 5 to 6 years that are specifically targeting to export to Asia.
One of the other aspects that you discussed there was the Indigenous people-to-people ties. Can you talk a little bit, because I don't know if that many people know about that. So can you talk a little bit about those ties and how those communities work together between Taiwan and Canada?
You know, this is kind of a thread that I have seen develop even over 20 years ago, the first time I was on posting in Taiwan, that the Indigenous population of Canada is interested in learning about what other Indigenous groups around the world are doing and how they can connect on a community to community level. So we do have some institutional arrangements, including IPETCA, the Indigenous Peoples Economic Trade Cooperation Arrangement, and that is between Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada. And we have different ways of cooperating and bringing people together under that arrangement. But one of the things that I participated in since coming here is the World Indigenous Games in Pingtung County. And I saw groups from, I think it was 17 different groups within Taiwan and 11 international delegations, including one from British Columbia in the west of Canada, which was basically the entire community. And they engaged in some traditional Indigenous games, and it was really beautiful to see.
Moving to the business side, there is the Canadian Technology Accelerator, and this is kind of involves some things like artificial intelligence, semiconductors. Can you talk about the concrete steps that are going on inside the CTA?
So I'd be happy to talk about the Canadian Technology Accelerator. This is a program that we have introduced only in a select few cities around the world. Taipei is one of them because we believe that we can find the right kind of partners for high-tech, innovation-focused, leading Canadian companies. In this case, in June this year, we'll be bringing a group related to Innovex, so the Computex Innovex show, and they're going to be focused on hard tech, which is embedded systems and hard technology. This group, a select group, will be introduced to potential partners, and we expect them from within the group of people they meet to meet some some partners that they can actually co-develop some research and development or eventually commercialize technology together.
The public health sector has been another area of collaboration between Taiwan and Canada. We mentioned that a bit earlier. This year, though, Taiwan has once again been blocked from joining the World Health Assembly. So from your position in your office or with the Canadian government, what else can be done to encourage Taiwan's participation on the global stage?
Well, when it comes to the World Health Assembly taking place in Geneva this year, later in May, I can say that Canada will encourage Taiwan's inclusion, and that we, as a matter of our policy, have always said that it makes sense for those international partners who have experience to share, which could be valuable in learning lessons in terms of public health management, to share them in the right kind of forum. So the meaningful participation of Taiwan in the WHO is something Canada has always promoted, and we will again this year advocate for Taiwan's inclusion. I think that's one concrete way that Canada can help. I know a number of international partners feel that that is an area where we can lend a bit more support and lend our voice. Another way is through our inclusion in the Global Cooperation and Training Framework, or GCTF. And we've become a full member of GCTF since 2024. And that is an excellent platform for enabling Taiwan to share its experience with a group of member partners, international partners, and for us to learn from Taiwan, but also to share with Taiwan experience. And this is across a number of different areas, but it all started off with health. It started with challenges that each of us faced and wanting to have more of a platform to share.
There is a lot of uncertainty in the globe right now. So what are some certainties within the Taiwan and Canadian relationship?
Yeah, when I think about this, I think that right now we've been here for 40 years. We're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Canadian Trade Office in Taipei. So we've had some stability up until now, and there's no reason to believe that we can't keep going from strength to strength and have an excellent future ahead of us. Things that I expect will maintain is that we'll have a strong degree of economic complementarity. The things that Canada is good at can benefit from input from Taiwan and vice versa. Our economies are not so similar, they're complementary. And so the other area is I can be sure that the foundations on which we've built this relationship are very likely to continue. We have shared values. Both Canada and Taiwan value our democracy, the rule of law, and I think that's going to maintain going forward. The human rights, the rule of law, these things are going to continue. So as I look ahead, I think that Canadian and Taiwanese interests will continue to align, and that we still have a lot to look forward to doing together. So when I look ahead, what I really want is to know that Canada and Taiwan have developed a relationship of trust, and that's the basis on which we can face some sensitive issues together.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. It was a really great discussion, and I'm glad you're here in Taiwan.
Thank you, Alec. It was a real pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity.
This has been Zoom In, Zoom Out. If you want to find more discussions like this, make sure to like, subscribe, or even leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Until next time.